What classrooms are most affected by students who have had trauma in their background?
Well, I mean, that sounds like an easier question from like the outside because obviously the students who are receiving the trauma the most are the students who are coming from homes that are lower in the socioeconomic status. And we know the reasons why this is happening. The same regulation issues that we are seeing in our students, our young students and older ones, are coming and being taught to them by their families. And it's because generational poverty is a thing, generational abuse is a thing. We need to start acknowledging that. We need to start, as a society, providing resources for newly impregnated or newly parented families because they don't know. They are not armed with the knowledge of what happened to them. They think that this is normal life. They might know that, oh, I would never treat someone I love that way, but I mean, that's how my family treated me, so it must be normal. Or they know it's wrong, but they just don't have the coping mechanisms that they need in order to handle a 4-year old's temper tantrum. Because I don't know if you've been around small children, but they can say some very cruel things when they're angry and dysregulated. And so we know that it's happening in these high poverty, high stress situations because the people who are impoverished are also oftentimes the most stressed out population. And that makes sense because they're trying to pay their bills, they're trying to feed their family, they're trying to stay regulated, their boss is an asshole. Like there's a list and a list and a list and a list, and you're like, stay positive. We live in America. You can rise up. And they're like, I'm trying, I'm working my ass off. How do I get there? They're getting more and more frustrated. And so obviously the schools who are servicing these populations are going to be the ones that are more heavily impacted by um, traumatized students, and they're probably going to have more of them because if you're in a wealthy district, well, all of the homes around you that are tunneling their students into the school are also going to be the highly um, wealthy families. And so they are going to be providing nannies, they're going to be providing horseback riding and all these enriching programs. And I'm not saying that's bad. I love that. I wish every child got that. So don't feel guilty if you're a mama out there listening. Like you do you, take care of that kid and don't feel guilty. But the truth is, those schools are going to have a lower population of students who are traumatized. And so they're going to be able to take in like the 1 or 2% who come in with dysregulation issues, whether they receive trauma in a different location or it's some type of just a mental disability that causes regulation issues. They're going to be surrounded by their peers who are all highly regulated. And so they're going to be able to flourish. The classroom is going to be better because they will have at least a little bit more diversity in regulation ability. So that's going to be an excellent environment. Um, and then you have the schools where they don't have enough teachers because they don't have enough funding. There's class sizes 30, 40. You put into the mix about 5%, 10% of those kiddos have regulation issues for whatever reason. Well, good luck having one teacher and one teacher's assistant taking care of that high number of traumatized students because there's going to be regulation issues and they're going to see their peers being dysregulated, which is going to increase the trauma, which is going to trigger their dysregulation. So it's just like a never ending cycle. So obviously, our classrooms that are underfunded because of how crappily our schools are funded are going to be more heavily impacted.